AI never sleeps, and this week has been absolutely insane. We have two new open source image generators. We have an AI that can detect and edit the lighting, color, and material properties of videos. We have two new free AI music generators. OpenAI unleashes O3 Mini, their most performant model yet. We have not one, not two, but three new AI models that even beat GPT and Claude, and a lot more. So let's jump right in. First up, this AI is super powerful. It's called Diffusion Render from NVIDIA, and here's what it does. It can take a video and estimate the geometry, depth, material properties, and other features of objects in a video. So for example, if this is your input video, it can calculate the depth of everything in the video. It also calculates the normal, which defines basically the surfaces of 3D objects in the video. And this is really important for simulating realistic lighting and shading. And it also calculates the albedo, which is basically the base color of the object, without any shading or lighting applied. Plus, it also estimates the metallic properties of the objects, or basically how reflective the object is. And then it also estimates the roughness of the object. So here are some more examples of this in action. You can see on the top left is the input video, and it can estimate all these properties from the video. Here's yet another example. Even though the scene is pretty complex with a lot of objects, it's able to handle this very well. Here's yet another example. Now, because it can understand and estimate all these things from a video, you can do some crazy things like manipulating the color, the lighting, or the reflectiveness of objects in videos. So here are some examples of this in action. How insane is that? Here are some more examples of relighting. So the input video is on the left, but you can adjust the lighting however you want. Notice how the lighting and shadows are different for each of these four videos. And if you compare this with existing relighting methods, note how much more accurate and consistent this new tool is. Plus, you can also change the roughness or reflective properties of any image or video. Notice how in the top row, the ball and the horse are changing in terms of roughness and reflectiveness. Same with the objects on the bottom row. And because it understands the geometry and lighting of a scene, you can also insert any object into the video and it would align with the existing lighting. So for example, if we insert a sink here, it would look like this. And then here, let's insert a table, and you can see it adds the table into the scene very seamlessly. And for your information, here's how it works. It first takes in an input video, and then runs it through a diffusion model. In this inverse rendering stage, it takes the video and estimates the color, depth, and other properties of the objects in it, one attribute at a time. Then it's passed on to this forward rendering stage, which takes those estimates and generates the new frame under different lighting conditions or whatever properties you specified to change. And then it spits out the output video. The cool thing about this AI is you can do all of this without needing any explicit 3D or lighting data, unlike traditional methods. It can just estimate and edit all of this with an input video. Anyways, I'll link to this project page in the description below where you can read further and check out more demos. Next up, we have a new free and open source image generator called Lumina Image 2.0. This is a really high quality model given its size. It's only 2 billion parameters, whereas Flux in comparison is 12 billion parameters, which is 6 times larger. Now, this Lumina Image 2 supports up to 1024 resolution, and it actually uses Gemma 2 as the text encoder and Flux as the VAE. And here are some examples. You can see it has absolutely no problem generating these realistic scenes. It's also really good at generating text in images, as you can see here. And you can also enter prompts in different languages. Plus, in addition to realistic images, it also can generate various artistic styles like this. And here's a really cool feature. You can generate multiple images in one image. So let's say your prompt is Generate a dual panel image where the lower half displays a canny edge map while the upper half retains the original image for direct visual comparison. So this is what you get. Or here's another example. Generate a 2-panel depiction of a human face transforming from a rough sketch in the left half to a hyperrealistic portrait in the right half. And this is what we get. Now, there are various Hugging Face spaces where you can use Lumina online for free, so you just need to enter in a prompt, but there are also advanced settings, and here's another strength of Lumina Image. You can add in what is called a system prompt. This is like an overarching prompt that describes the rules or the role of this AI. So for example, instead of this, you can say you are a professional photographer. And if you do that, then all your outputs would be realistic professional photos. And then here's where you enter in a negative prompt. These are all the things you want to exclude from the image. And then here's where you adjust the width and height. Here are some other settings, which you might be familiar with if you've been doing image generation before. Anyways, let's do a simple prompt like a portrait of a woman in the city, and then click run. Alright, so this is what we get. This is indeed a portrait of a woman in the city. Now, for the system prompt, instead of saying you are a professional photographer, let's write you are an impressionist painter, and then press run and see what that gives us. And here's our result. So you can see how this new system prompt feature can be really useful. Now, if you compare this new Lumina image with existing models of similar sizes, like SDXL or Stable Diffusion 3, or even DALL-E 3 or OmniGen or NVIDIA's Sana, note that for most of these benchmarks, the highest score goes to Lumina image. So it's a really impressive image generator given its small size. Anyways, the models are out on Hugging Face already for you to download. Like I said, this is completely free and open source. I will link to this GitHub page in the description below for you to read further. Next up, we have a new 3D model generator called DiffSplat. This can generate 3D models from just a text prompt or an image. And the model is in the form of what is called a Gaussian splat. In the simplest sense, this is basically a cloud of tiny colored points in 3D space. And this thing is blazing fast, so it only takes like 1 to 2 seconds to generate a model. So here are various generations of turning a text description to a 3D model. But like I said, you can also upload an image and it would generate a 3D model from that. So here are various examples. Notice even if your uploaded character is very detailed and complex, it's able to handle it pretty well. And it's also able to accurately estimate what the back of the character would look like. So really quickly, here's how it works. It either takes in a text description or an image and then plugs it into this diffusion model. This is basically an image generator like Stable Diffusion and Flux, and the nice thing is you can plug different image generators into this. For example, you can use SDXL or PixArt or Stable Diffusion 3, just to name a few. And then it goes through this latent decoder to generate the 3D model. And this 3D rendering loss component basically provides more coherence across different views so that the 3D model remains consistent from different angles. It's also very versatile, so you can take an original object and then estimate the normal map of that object, which is like estimating the surface of the object. And then if you couple this with a new text description like a steampunk robot, then it generates a new object based on this normal map. Or instead of estimating the surface, you can also take an object and then extract the depth map from the object, and then use that to generate some new 3D models based on a different text description. Or instead of depth map, you can also extract the edge of an original object, and then again using different text prompts, you can generate new objects from that aligns with this extracted edge. So a really powerful and versatile tool. Anyways, at the top here, they already have a GitHub repo, so this includes all the instructions on how to install this and run it locally. Anyways, I'll link to this main page in the description below for you to read further. Next up, we finally have a decent open source music generator. It's called Yue, and this can create full songs from just a prompt. You just need to input the lyrics and specify the genre like you would in Udio or Suno, and it would magically generate an entire song for you, at least for a few minutes. So here are some examples. Let's say for the genre, you write inspiring female uplifting pop, airy vocal, electronic, bright vocal. And then here are the lyrics. Well, here's one sample generation from that.
Staring at the sunset colors paint the sky. Thoughts of you keep swirling, can't deny. I know I let you down and make mistakes, but I'm here to mend the heart I didn't break. Every word you take about the was stuck behind every dream you chase. I'm reaching for the light. You can't fight this, and now I won't back down. You know you can't deny it now. I won't back down.
So that's one generation. If you keep everything the same and generate it again, here's another variation.
Staring at the sunset, colors beat the sky. That's how you keep sweating, can't deny. I know I let you down, I made mistakes, but I'm here to mend the heart I didn't break. Every road you take, I'll be one step behind. Every dream you chase, I'm reaching for the light. You inside, it's still enough. I won't back down, you know you can't deny it now.
So those are some examples of pop songs. Let's hear what rap sounds like. Here the genre is rap, piano, street, tough, piercing vocal, hip-hop, synthesizer, clear vocal, male. Now, it does sound like rap, however, note that it's kind of messing up the lyrics, so it's skipping a lot of lines and it's jumping all over the place. So anyways, I will play this section for you and then show you the lyrics that were inputted.
This is my journey, and I'm running this race. Executes about a base, said I couldn't do waste, said I'd never rise. But now I'm soaring high, reaching for the skies. Lessons that I learned made me who I am. Standing tall now, I don't give a damn. Echoes in the alley, music need to howl me. Watch as crayfish, she beef, so find me. Good to me like his, it calls me. Let us have the lamb never cause a skid get all skins to cause. Vertical bulls, birds, dispersal of ours. Certain that balls, feeling the heart from the world, creating the changa dog. And the witch run, and on this fool, man, and on my wing, and from my dreams, and all I do, and all I.
Near the end there before the chorus, it just starts blurbing out random lyrics that were not specified in the prompt. But actually, it's pretty cool to me how it's able to just continue rapping on without any guidance. It's like freestyling in a sense. And then finally, here's a jazz example. So here, the genre is female, blues, airy vocal, bright vocal, piano, sad, romantic, guitar, jazz.
In the quiet of the evening, shadows start to fall. Whispers of the night theme echo through the hall. Lost within the silence, I hear your gentle voice, guiding me back homeward, making my heart rejoice. Don't let this moment, they hold me close to life. With you here beside me, everything's alright. Can't imagine life alone, don't want to let you go. Stay with me forever, let our love just flow.
Very nice, very nice. Now, it can even do extreme stuff like heavy metal. So just a warning, you might want to turn your speakers a bit down for this.
Step back is all ignite. Won't quit without a fight. Those can't get up with the fierce fight. Raise up, put your hands up in light. Feel the right, step back is all ignite. Won't back down without a fight. It keeps going and going, the heat is on one thing.
So it has definitely no problem handling screaming and more extreme stuff like heavy metal. And it can also sing in different languages. So, for example, let's say you input these lyrics, which include Japanese and English, and also down here some Korean. Let's see what that gives us.
brain. You know the only one on a brain. I know the only one. I know you got another one. I know more the over the well. I did the bar in love with you. You don't know you be fancy. Oh yeah, yeah. Do you want me? And I wanna be your number one. Come a little closer. Stretching my head, why do you deny? Calling my closer, oh, because she there. To the side, to your words. You are saying me just wanna be yours.
Notice near the end there, it also did some like auto-tuned synth voice effects, which is really cool. How insane is that? All of this can be done from a free and open source AI that you can use right now. And like I said, you only need to specify the genre and the lyrics and it would magically come up with a full song for you, including the verse and the lyrics. Anyways, there's a GitHub link at the top, which contains all the instructions on how to download and use this. For now, note that it does require significant GPU memory, so you could get away with 24 or even 16 gigabytes at a bare minimum, I would say, but it is quite compute intensive. That being said, because this is completely open source, and by the way, it's under the Apache 2 license, so you're free to pretty much do anything you want with it, including using it for commercial purposes. But anyways, because this is open source, I'm sure other users are really quickly going to release a quantized version of this, which allows us to run it on lower VRAM GPUs. Now, as I've shown you from the examples, the quality isn't great. It's not as good as Udio or Suno yet, but this is completely free and open source. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a full installation tutorial on this. Anyways, I will link to this main page in the description below for you to check out further. In addition to Yue, we have yet another free AI music generator, and this one is really damn good. So it's called Fuzz by Refusion. Now, Refusion has been in the AI music generation space for a while now. In fact, I covered it like 2 years ago when it first came out. Well, this week they released a new model called Fuzz, and here's a sample of what Fuzz sounds like.
Watching your face in the acid screen. Every flash brings a new routine. It reads through to you. Your mind's up in a fever on the low.
The awesome thing is you can use it for free for unlimited times on their site right now, as long as their GPUs survive, of course. So you just need to go to refusion.com, which I'll link to in the description below. Here is where you can enter in the prompt and then press generate. Or in this compose section, here's where it gives you more control and you can add in the lyrics here and also specify the sound that you want. For now, let me play you some of their top hits. It sounds really good.
Private rooms in VIP passes. Quick glance back as the moment passes. Your tour lights got me so damn reckless. Leave these marks upon my necklace. After the bass drops, when the crowd stops, baby, tell me what you need. Tomorrow's just another city. Tonight you're with me pretty. Say you want to say you need it, but we both know that you're leaving.
So notice how much cleaner and 3D this sounds compared to Yue. I mean, this new Refusion model is insanely good. Here's another example.
When I was down and out in the back streets of pain, when I was down and out like a bruise in the rain, but honey, you came along like sweet sugar cane. Keep on lifting me higher, sweet soul lifter. taking me high like the blues we play.
So notice how the guitar sounds super realistic, the voice is very high quality and dynamic. This is just beautiful. And another awesome feature about Refusion is you can take any existing song, and not only can you download the full song, but you can also download the separate stems of the song and then remix them yourself. Really cool tool. Next up, if you thought we were done talking about DeepSeek this week, well, they've actually released another banger. This time it's a multimodal AI model that can generate images. It's called Janus Pro. Now, should this be Janus or Janus? Because, it's J and then Anus. Anyways, like with DeepSeek R1, this model is also free and open source, but it's different from normal diffusion models like Flux or Stable Diffusion. This is actually a multimodal AI model that can handle both text and images. Now, they've actually released 4 models of different parameter sizes, so of course the biggest one is the best quality, and the smallest one would be fastest and the least compute intensive. And really quickly, here are some example generations from Janus. You can see it can generate various styles from realistic to watercolor paintings to oil paintings to anime. It can generate macro photography, landscape photos. It's really good. Here are some more examples. It can generate pixel art, kind of, and it can generate these 2.5D digital art type photos. Now, because this isn't just an image generator, it can also understand text. They compared this with various benchmarks. On the left, they compared it with several multimodal understanding benchmarks, and you can see Janus Pro outperforms all the other models of similar parameter sizes. And then on the right is the performance of Janus Pro in terms of instruction following benchmarks for image generation. And you can see, at least comparing it to Stable Diffusion 3 Medium or DALL-E 3 or SDXL, Janus Pro is the best model. Now, I would say their generations are not as good as Flux, but keep in mind this is only 7 billion parameters, whereas Flux is 12 billion parameters, and also this isn't a diffusion model. This isn't just used for image generation, it also has, regular text and chat capabilities, so the fact that they crammed everything into such a small model, and it still outperformed other models in terms of multimodal understanding and image generation is just insanely impressive. I mean, my hat off to the DeepSeek team. They are releasing some incredible stuff. Now, like I said, this is completely free and open source. They've already released the models for you to download and run locally. Plus, they also have a free Hugging Face space for you to run this online. Next up, there are some really cool updates in AI this week. So one of my favorite AI video generators, which I featured before, called High-Law Minimax, has released a new director model. This allows you to control the camera movements of your generation, and this allows for really cool cinematic scenes like this. So once you log into High-Law and you click Create, it's currently under the text to video tab, and down here is where you can choose this new director model. So for example, let's prompt it with a lone artist painting on an easel in a sunlit meadow. And then over here we can click this camera icon, which allows us to specify the camera movement of the scene. So there are different options like sliding the camera left or right, or panning the camera left or right, or zooming in, zooming out, tilting up or down, etc., etc. This allows you to really control the camera movement of your scene. For us, let's go with left circling. This is basically an orbit shot. So let's click this and note how it has now added these keywords to the prompt. So let's click generate and see what that gives us. And here's my result. This is indeed making the camera orbit to the left. Really impressive. Anyways, I'm preparing a full review video on this, so stay tuned for that. In other AI video news, Alibaba has released their latest video generator called Wanks. Is that how you pronounce it? Wanks? Anyways, the generations from this model are actually really good. It even beats some of the top paid models out there. Now, you can currently use it for free on their interface called QuenChat. So you just need to enter the prompt here and then click video generation. Here's where you can select the aspect ratio and then click generate. Definitely take advantage of this while it's still free. Now, I already did a full review video on this where I compared Wanks with other top video models out there, so definitely check out this video if you haven't already. Thanks to AI Portrait for sponsoring this video. A good professional photo on your LinkedIn or business profile makes a huge difference. Now, you could try to take them yourself or get a friend to do so, but most people aren't great at taking professional photos. Or you could hire a professional photo shoot, but this costs over $200 on average, plus you need to schedule a session and spend hours awkwardly posing at a camera. And this brings us to AI Portrait. You can generate a portfolio of professional, high-quality photos in just minutes. Just upload one photo, choose your gender, and it would generate a portfolio of 50 professional headshots in various settings. And it generates this within minutes. So if you're looking for high-quality professional photos without the hassle of a physical photo shoot, AI Portrait is your best bet. Check it out via the link in the description below. Now, if you've been keeping up with AI news this week, you've probably heard of DeepSeek. This is the Chinese AI model that has taken over the internet. It's as good as OpenAI's o1, and it's completely open source and free to use. Now, I've already done a few videos on DeepSeek, so I won't repeat it here. Watch this video if you haven't already. But in addition to DeepSeek, there are actually a few other AI models that are also state-of-the-art. So Alibaba recently released Qwen 2.5 Max, which is their most advanced AI model to date. This is a mixture of experts models, so think of this as like a team of specialized AIs working together to help you solve a task. So for example, there could be one AI that's especially good at coding, another one that's especially good at math, another one that's especially good at writing, and so on and so forth. So if you group this team of AI agents together, it's going to be more performant. And you can see from these benchmark scores, the red bar is Qwen 2.5 Max. For most of these, it beats other leading models out there like GPT 4o and Claude and DeepSeek version 3. Note that all of these are non-thinking models. This is DeepSeek v3, not R1, which is the thinking model that's making headlines. But note that for most of these benchmarks, it's as good or even better than the leading non-thinking models out there. The awesome thing is you can use it right now for free, also in this chat interface. So at the top here is where you can select the model, and you can see by default it has selected Qwen 2.5 Max. By the way, you can also use this for web search, for coding, and also for generating images. I go over all these functions in the latter half of this video. Plus, another place where you can try this out, especially if you want to do some coding, is this free Hugging Face space by a colleague. So, over here is where you can select different models. Let's go with Qwen Coder, and then here is where you can select Qwen 2.5 Max. This is just the date, so this is the most recent model. And then let's actually input a really tricky prompt. I'm going to write a script for 3 bouncing yellow balls within a sphere. Make sure to handle collision detection properly. Make the sphere slowly rotate. Make sure balls stay within the sphere. Implement it in p5.js. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. So the awesome thing about this free platform called AnyChat is not only does it show you the code in this left panel, but then it outputs the code for you to view in real time on the right. And here we go. And it completely nailed this just the first time. 0 shot. How insane is that? This just shows you how good Qwen 2.5 Pro is in terms of coding. Now note that while you can use Qwen 2.5 Max for free on this platform, it's currently not open source. So developers can currently access it via Alibaba's Cloud API. That being said, several other Qwen models have also been released this week, and these are completely free and open source, and they also crush various benchmark scores. So here we have Qwen 2.5 VL. I would argue this is even more useful than Qwen 2.5 Max because this has vision capabilities. In other words, it can analyze images and even hour-long videos. So here are some examples. If you prompt it with what are these attractions, give me their names in Chinese and English, it indeed nails everything. And look at this. This is super impressive. If you ask it, what are these birds? Please give their names in Chinese and English. It also nails everything. Now, species identification has been really hard for previous AI vision models. So this is really impressive. Same with identifying cars. Qwen 2.5 VL also gets the answers for all of these correctly. Same with identifying famous people, so if you ask it who are these in the picture, please give their names in Chinese and English. Again, it is able to answer this 100% correctly. Here's another impressive example. If you ask it recognize all texts in the image, output in lines, note that again it's able to detect the text and output it for you correctly. Here's another impressive example. Spot all the text in the image with line level and output in JSON format. So here's a receipt. Note that it's detecting everything and then outputting it in JSON format. You can also convert something into HTML. So if you input this image and then you prompt it to generate HTML with image caption, here is what you get. And because of this vision capability, because it can analyze images and video, this means you can also use it as an AI agent, which interprets your screen and determines what to do next. So here are some examples. Here the user is getting this AI agent powered by Qwen 2.5 VL to book a one-way ticket from Chongqing to Beijing. And that's exactly what it's doing. It's analyzing the display of the device and then deciding on what to search or where to click next. And by the way, this absolutely crushes other leading vision models in various benchmarks. So Qwen 2.5 VL, the largest version, which is 72 billion parameters, note that out of all these benchmark scores, it has scored the highest, well ahead of GPT 4o and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. This is an insane achievement, how it's able to crush not just several benchmarks, but all of these benchmarks. The awesome thing is the models are already out, and like I said, these are completely free and open source, so you can download them and run it offline on your computer right now. Note that they've released 3 different vision models. One is 3 billion parameters, another is 7 billion, and lastly, the best and most performant one is 72 billion parameters. Plus, there's also a free Hugging Face space for you to try this out online. Anyways, I'll link to this main announcement page in the description below for you to read further. Now, because Qwen 2.5 VL is open source, a lot of users have already cloned it and fine-tuned it for their own specific purposes. So this project did exactly that. It's called Caracal, and this is using Qwen VL 7b as the base model. This is a free tool for identifying handwritten text, and it's especially good with analyzing historical documents. So for example, let's upload this handwritten image and then click submit. I'll show you what this run named entity recognition feature does in a second as well. How awesome is that? So you can see it has indeed accurately detected the text from this handwritten note. Now next, let's also turn on this run named entity recognition feature, and this basically allows you to label all these different entities. So the default is person, organization, location, date, event. Let's say you only want to label people and location and date. So you would get rid of organization and get rid of event. And then let's click submit and see what that gives us. How cool is that? So you can see if we turn this feature on, now it's labeling all these entities. So for example, it has detected that Pittsburgh is a location, this is a date, this is a person, and this is a location. How cool is that? This is a really useful feature, especially for like analyzing handwritten notes and historical documents. Anyways, I'll link to this Hugging Face space in the description below for you to read further. And if you thought we were done talking about Qwen, well, they've also released yet another free and open source model this week. It's called Qwen 2.5 1 million, which, as the name implies, has a massive context window of 1 million tokens. This is basically like how much information you can feed it at one time in your prompt. So, for example, note the top models out there like O1 or O3 Mini, which we'll talk about in a second, or DeepSeek, or like Claude 3.5 Sonnet, they only have a context window of 200,000 or 128k tokens. So the fact that this free and open source model has 1 million tokens is incredible. This means it can take in over 700,000 words or over 30,000 lines of code. This is especially useful if you want to feed an entire code base into this AI to process, or maybe feed it a ton of technical documents all at once. Now, they've released 2 variants of this. One is 14 billion parameters and one is 7 billion parameters, depending on if you want to optimize for efficiency or quality. And both models use a technique called dual chunk attention to handle long sequences efficiently. And if you look at these benchmarks for long context understanding, note that the bold or underlined values indicate the best performer. You can see that across the board, the Qwen models achieve the highest score, even beating GPT-4o Mini and Llama 3.1. Again, an incredible achievement from Alibaba Qwen. This is state-of-the-art, and I can't believe they are also open sourcing these models for free for everyone to use. So again, if you go to their Hugging Face, all the models are already there for you to download and use offline. All the links are at the top here, so I will link to this main page in the description below for you to read further. Oh, did you think we were done talking about Chinese models? Well, yet another one has been released, which also beats the best models out there. I mean, it was Chinese New Year this week, so maybe that explains why they're releasing so many crazy models recently. They want to start the year off with a bang. Anyways, this time it's by ByteDance. This is also a mixture of experts architecture, and it has multimodal capabilities. So that means you can input text, image, and audio. And for a lot of these benchmark scores, it outperforms leading models like GPT-4o and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Now, unfortunately, this one is not open source. You can only access it through their Volcano engine platform, but it's worth noting that ByteDance also has a state-of-the-art model. I hope you can feel the acceleration. Now, possibly because of the pressure of all these state-of-the-art Chinese models coming out, yesterday, OpenAI finally released their best model yet. It's called O3 Mini, and this is a smaller or less performant version of their even better model called O3. But nonetheless, it's really good, particularly in math, coding, and science. Like DeepSeek R1, this is a deep thinking model, so it's really good at thinking through and reasoning in order to solve a problem. And the good news is, even for free users, you can try out O3 Mini right now. So let's enter in a prompt like this. What do you think is going on here? A 9-year-old boy with cough, fever, and congestion for 7 days has severe pain in the calves and is walking with a noticeable limp. Now, if you turn on this reason button, it basically uses O3 Mini to think through its response. So let's click generate and see what that gives us. Now, unfortunately, this is pretty lackluster compared to DeepSeek, if I were to be honest. So here is its entire thinking process. I'm gathering info on this boy with cough, fever, and calf pain. Could it be benign acute childhood myositis? And then it determines, yes, it is, and then it gives you key points, etc., etc. Now, if you compare the same prompt with DeepSeek, note how much more thorough DeepSeek is in its thinking process. So for example, here it says possible causes could be post-viral myositis, and then it explains why. Another thought is this, which is muscle breakdown. It's a possibility if the myositis is severe. And then there is this, maybe less likely here. And then there's also this, not sure if it fits here, but worth considering. And then there's also this, maybe, but would need other signs like localized redness, swelling. Or it could even be Lyme disease, not sure here. So it's going through all possibilities and then weighing the probability of each one before concluding that it's acute viral myositis. Whereas look how short the response from O3 is. Like, I'm getting the sense that it's not really trying. But anyways, just note that even for free users, you can now use O3 Mini by turning on this reason button. Now, there are actually 3 different O3 Mini models that they've released, with the high one being the most performant model. So you can see for competitive math, O3 Mini even beats O1. Same with PhD level questions, O3 Mini, at least the high model, scored the highest here. Same with competitive coding and software engineering. Note that free users will have limited usage of O3 Mini, And by the way, they didn't specify if this is referring to the low version or the medium version. And then paid users will have the option of selecting O3 Mini High in the model picker. So this is the most performant model. And then pro users, if you're paying $200 a month, you'll have unlimited access to both O3 Mini and O3 Mini High. Now, not only is O3 Mini more performant than its predecessor, the O1 Mini, but it's also a lot cheaper if you're using the API. And it responds way faster. So here they claim it's 24% faster than O1 Mini. Now, unfortunately for this report that they published, they only compared O3 Mini with O1. What I would really like to see is how this compares with DeepSeek R1. Interestingly, if you look at this leaderboard by this independent evaluator called Artificial Analysis, and if you rank this by their quality index, note that O3 Mini is actually tied with DeepSeek R1, and it's actually 1 point behind O1. However, note that it is a lot cheaper. Anyways, they just released this yesterday, and I might do a full deep dive on this model to show you some impressive things you can do with it, so stay tuned for that. Next up, Google is slowly rolling out a new feature called Daily Listen. This is like a short daily podcast that updates you on the topics you're interested in every day.
Hey there, and welcome to your Daily Listen, a new experimental audio show by Google.
We're your hosts, powered by AI and prepared to deliver a quick update each day.
Created exclusively for you.
It's personalized to your interests, so we'll cover the topics you follow.
And the things you search often.
So you can get the scoop without doing the work.
The experiment is rolling out now and may not be available to everyone just yet.
But you can always join the waitlist, and we'll let you know when your very own show is ready to go.
Now, this is a really interesting idea. I think this technology could eventually replace news or podcasts. Maybe in the near future, we're just going to have AI curate and generate the content that we like to see or listen to every day. Note that this is only available for some users. They're slowly rolling it out, so it's not available to everyone yet. In fact, I myself do not see an option to download this, but I'll link to this page in the description below so you can check it out and see if you have access to this. Last but not least, we have another open source model released this week, and it is also as good as GPT-4o and DeepSeek version 3. This time it's from a US company called the Allen Institute for AI, and they've just released a model called Tulu 3. This is truly open source, so not only did they release the model weights, but also the training data and code. And here's its performance against other state-of-the-art non-thinking models like DeepSeek v3 and GPT-4o. I'll go over what these values SFT, DPO, and RLVR mean in a second. And again, the bold values indicate the highest score for the benchmark. So note here that its performance against others is not amazing. It only got the top score for a handful of benchmarks, but it's impressive nonetheless. It's actually built upon Meta's Llama 405B base model, and their training approach is actually quite similar to how DeepSeek trained the crazy R1 model. So really quickly, here's how it works. First, the team carefully selected and curated a dataset focusing on core skills like problem solving. The model was then trained on this curated dataset, learning from specific prompts and their corresponding answers. And this process is called supervised fine-tuning. This is the SFT that you see up here. Then they used a technique called direct preference optimization, where the model learned to generate responses that people would prefer. So this would, in theory, improve the quality of its answers. And this is what DPO refers to over here. And then finally, they used a method called reinforcement learning from verifiable rewards. In this approach, the model is rewarded for giving correct answers to problems with definite solutions, like math problems. And this is very similar to how DeepSeek trained their R1 model. They also used reinforcement learning, and this is particularly effective at improving the model's performance on math and coding skills. Anyways, that's what RLVR refers to over here. This is reinforcement learning with verifiable rewards. Now, like I said, this is completely free and open source. They've already released all the models on Hugging Face for you to download and run locally. And that sums up all the highlights in AI this week. I don't know if you can feel the acceleration, but I feel like these past 2 weeks especially have been absolutely insane. Let me know in the comments what you think of all of this. Which tool or model are you most excited about? As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week, I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.